The eCom Seller Summit was created to prove that with the right tools and training, anyone and everyone can make money in e-commerce. So many people want to try their hand at e-commerce, selling on eBay, Amazon, Shopify, and more, but they're afraid they won't be successful. This summit will show you that there's many ways to do e-commerce, and there are many platforms you can explore, because e-commerce really has no limits. It really can pay your bills, and e-commerce never sleeps. There's nothing like waking up to profits from getting sales all night long. My name is Nicole Whitlock, and this is the eCom Seller Summit.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to my presentation on how to create e-commerce images and Amazon images that convert. That means using visual imagery to persuade a buyer to do the thing that you want them to do. To start, I just wanted to introduce you to me and what I have done and why I'm bringing you this message today. So my name is Ian Bauer. I'm the owner of Graphic Rhythm. We're a design agency that specializes in Amazon imagery. And I've been an Amazon seller actually since 2015. I started out the way most people who sell on Amazon start out. I wanted to make a few extra bucks. I started out with retail arbitrage, and then I got into online arbitrage, and then I got into wholesale, and then I did a little private label. I'm terrible at private label. And then my business now is a mixture of wholesale and brand management. Along the way, I have learned quite a bit about Amazon, and I started a design agency that is specifically focused on Amazon in a lot of ways. And I also teach other people how to sell on Amazon. At some point during my business years and career, I started to get really into copywriting and marketing, and I was really fascinated with how could I persuade people to do something I wanted them to do, which was in their best interest, of course, okay, and how can I get them to take an action? So in addition to that, I've always been really interested in communication, like how to improve communication, how to get better at it, how to do a better job at communication. And so I combined those talents and my experiences with graphic design, and then basically Graphic Rhythm sprung up out of those activities. So Graphic Rhythm is a design agency, okay, and we consider ourselves a full stack creative design agency. And to me, that means that we're able to do whatever it is you need us to do. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what we do later on, but what you really need to understand is this, is that one of the key things that we do is Amazon imagery. And what we've done over the years is we've really developed a process for creating Amazon or high converting Amazon imagery. To date, we've produced over 3,000 Amazon images, and we've really developed our own kind of like a secret sauce for conversion optimized images. Okay, so remember, a conversion optimized image is an image that's designed to get your viewer to take an action, and that action is to buy, of course, right? So here's what we're going to be doing today, okay? Now, before I jump into what we're doing today, the one thing that I want you to understand is I'm going to be using the word Amazon quite a bit, right? And, if you're watching this, chances are pretty good you're familiar with the Amazon third-party marketplace. But even though I'm saying Amazon, the things I'm teaching you today are useful no matter what you're doing, okay? If you are a Shopify seller, if you are a Walmart seller, these are all going to work for you. In fact, any place that you want to visually communicate with your target audience and get them to take an action, the things I'm going to show you today will be useful to you. Okay, so here's what we're going to learn. We're going to learn how to survive in an increasingly visual landscape, what that looks like, what is happening in the e-commerce world when it comes to visuals. And then I'm going to show you how Graphic Rhythm creates imagery that converts using our process, okay? The exact process that we go through, I'm going to show it all to you today. All right. So the first thing that you have to understand is that the future of e-commerce is visual, All right. As technology gets better, imagery and videos are going to be the new way to shop. They already are in a lot of ways, and that's going to continue to happen. We're going to keep doubling down on imagery and video. All right. To give you an example, Amazon is investing heavily in imagery and visuals. So for instance, recently some of the things that they have brought to the table are things like brand registry, so you can create A+ content, storefronts, Amazon posts. They're adding video ads to the actual gallery images, video reviews, user-generated content, Amazon Live. These are all things that are in place right now, and Amazon is going to continue to double down on imagery in their marketplace because they want people to shop visually. They want people to see a pretty image or watch a cool video and engage with that and then buy. So taking that into consideration with the fact that that social media is becoming increasingly visual. We had Instagram for a lot of years, and now this year TikTok comes along, which is a video only platform, right? So essentially you need to get in on this visual content parade that's happening. So what we're going to do is take a look at how you sell and re-examine the way that you do it. All right, so the first crucial piece of information here is that Amazon and e-commerce images are advertisements. There's this big myth, what I call the big myth, which is that photography is good enough, right? Because, back in the day when you started on Amazon, you put up a listing, you took some photos of it with your cell phone maybe, and then you put it up on Amazon, and that was pretty good, right? You did good. But it's not true anymore, all right? Photography is not cutting it. Every image on your Amazon listing, on your storefront, anywhere in your account is an opportunity to sell your product, okay? It's an opportunity that you need to use to overcome objections, speak to the desires of your prospect, and match your message with their stage of awareness. So let's take a look at kind of like the Amazon buyer journey, all right? So who are Amazon shoppers, okay, and what process do they go through? So the first thing is that Amazon, as you know, is a keyword-driven marketplace, okay? So that means that people search for something on Amazon and then they find the thing that they want and they check out and they buy, right? Well, only certain kinds of customers are on Amazon. You almost won't ever find Amazon shoppers searching for things like back pain, right? That's more of a Google keyword, all right? So you need to know that most shoppers on Amazon are solution aware. They're on there looking for a solution to their problem, right? So they start out by searching. They're looking at products that are just like yours, right? Next, they click on your listing and they click on a bunch of other listings and they compare the features and benefits. They become aware of your product, all right? And then they make a final decision, right? They decide what they're going to buy today to solve whatever their problem is. Whatever your solution is, they're buying it, right? So let's take a look at what process they go through here. So your prospect starts out as problem aware. Now, typically they are not on Amazon for problem aware. They're searching Google for back pain remedies. Okay, Amazon typically doesn't do a very good job, although sometimes they do, right? Sometimes your product might be something that has a problem-focused keyword, all right? But typically that's a Google kind of question. All right, so they type into Google back pain remedies, right? And they look up, maybe back pain pills and heating pads and lumbar supports, right? So they decide that this lumbar support is the thing that they want. Well, now they're going to go to Amazon. Okay, so they're going to go to Amazon. They're going to search for lumbar support pillows. They're solution aware at this point. Next, they're going to find your product and they're going to start comparison shopping. And then they're going to narrow it down to the last 2 or 3 products. And they're looking for a reason to pick you. Okay, so the question becomes, what does the buyer need to know in each of these phases? And what are they looking at? Like, are they looking at the images on the product? Are they looking at the A+ content? Are they looking at the storefront? What are they looking at when they're in each of these stages of awareness. And that's one of the things that we're going to answer today. All right, so let's look at this a little bit differently now. So these are the same 4 stages of awareness that I showed you on the last slide, but now we're demonstrating what people are looking at and what the most important things are. So problem aware. So this would be things like title and bullets, description, search engine optimization, content like blog posts, so on and so forth. Remember, not a lot of problem aware shoppers on Amazon, but they do exist. So the next thing is solution aware. Right, so this is, people. This is really the work of your title and bullets, is getting people to see the your product when they search for it. Right, so they type in that lumbar support. Hopefully, your title has that keyword in there, and your bullets do. And then your main image is serving the purpose of getting them to click. Right, so your main image serves that role of being attractive, clickable, get them to actually click into the listing and learn more. Right. And then the other thing I want to point out is Amazon posts are particularly good for this because they post in the search results and they also post on the listings of your competitors. All right. So when they're also comparison shopping, they can click on your Amazon post. So the things that you focus on for a solution aware prospect, somebody who's looking for lumbar support, is going to be the main image, Amazon posts, and then of course your title and bullets. So then they become product aware. So they've clicked on your product, your listing, right? And they're taking a look at the gallery images. So what do they need to know and when do they need to know it? So we typically use images 2 through 4 of the gallery to sell the difference as quickly as possible, right? If most Amazon shoppers are anything like me, they open up like 25 different tabs on Google Chrome, and they're taxing their computer, and they're basically like playing a game show where like you're eliminated, you're eliminated, you're eliminated, right? Well, how do you stop yourself from being eliminated, right? So that's where gallery images 2 through 4 are on your Amazon listing. That's what they serve to do. It's like grab their attention, hold on to it, okay, and then give them a good reason why you're different. And then you get narrowed down, and you're in the final 4, right? And now the customer is what we call most aware, right? They're fully immersed. They know all of the solutions to the problems. They know all the products that provide that solution. And now they're really just, trying to make a final decision. So how do you make that final decision? Well, gallery images 5 and on are typically reserved to do that, okay? Your A+ content and your storefront can help seal the deal. Those little things about your brand that kind of help push it over the edge. All right, so let's carry on here. So the title, bullets, and description get people to look at your product along with the main image, right? So the role of imagery then is to overcome the objections and to convert them. All right. So the question that we're going to answer next is, how do you create conversion-focused imagery? So these are the components, as far as we are concerned, that make a great image. All right. So what we call imagery is typically photography and renderings. All right. So the actual photos of your product, lifestyle photos if you have them, renderings if you're using renderings instead of photography or alongside photography, copywriting that's focused, that structures the information in the way that the customer needs to engage with it. And copywriting also includes a deep understanding of the target market. And then design. So design is like the last step, right? And it creates that visual hierarchy. It lays everything out the way it's supposed to be. It creates engagement through the design. Okay. Now, one of the things I'll point out is that most of our clients stop at imagery, which is a big mistake. We spend a lot of time educating our clients about the difference between what we call imagery and the finished product, which is the design. So one thing I definitely want you to take away at this point is that it's not enough to just throw photos up there. You have to do something else with them. You're missing an opportunity to sell if all you're doing is demonstrating your products through photography. All right, so the graphic rhythm method for creating these images that convert starts with a deep understanding of the product. Okay. The next thing that we do is the copywriting structure. So we actually write the headline, the callouts, the subtext, the subheadlines, and so on and so forth. And then finally, the graphic design. So really, this is less of a design process, like a graphic design process, and more of a messaging design process, with graphic design really just comprising the last step. So what do I mean by market research? Well, there's a lot that goes into it. Okay. So the very first step here is this market research and gaining a deep understanding of the target market and the prospect. Okay, so typically what we do is we do things like we review the keywords that are being used, okay, to make sure that we're positioning the copy to the stage of awareness and making sure that that's a good fit. We read reviews of your product as well as reviews of your competitor products. We analyze the competitors to see what they're saying and what they aren't saying. Okay. And what we're really trying to do is we're trying to answer these three questions. What do people love? What do people hate? And what are people confused about? Now, what people love and hate is really easy to sort of figure out when you're looking at a bunch of reviews, and you get a really good idea of what works for them and what doesn't work for them, right? But what they are confused about is a gold mine. When you look at an Amazon listing in particular, there's a question and answer section. Now, I want you to think about that question and answer section because all sellers take it for granted, okay? You have an Amazon customer who's shopping on Amazon for the perfect thing for their problem, right? They're comparison shopping amongst a whole bunch of other products on the Amazon marketplace. Amazon is perfectly optimized for quick sales. They have one-click add to cart, checkout, buy, have it shipped to you the next day. I mean, in some places on this planet, they'll deliver to you within an hour. All right, so it's built for speed. But on a marketplace built for speed, in a world where online shopping and one-click checkout is a thing, the folks that are asking questions are so into this product that they were willing to post a question and then wait for an answer. So, if they had had the question answered, they would already be customers. All right. Now, I've asked some questions on Amazon before. I've used that Q&A section. I never remember to go back. And look at what the answer was. I just move on and buy something else. Okay, so that's a missed opportunity. It's a huge missed opportunity. You have to answer those questions. You have to help them become perfectly clear about your solution. So those are the three questions that we try and answer. Now, there's another component here. You may not know this, but your product, whatever it is, serves one purpose, which is to help the buyer be someone else. Okay? So we call this the transformation analysis. It takes a look at who is the prospect right now. What are they doing right now? What do they have right now? Who are they right now before they have your product? And then who will they be later after they have your product? So to get the answer to this question, we do something called the transformation analysis. The transformation analysis is a before and after analysis of your prospect. So what we do is we write up a series of sentences, of phrases that revolve around these categories. What does your prospect have before your product and after your product? How does what they have make them feel? How is their everyday life affected? And then what do they believe about the world? Okay. And then the last thing that we look at is what is their status among their friends, family, and coworkers because of all of this? So for instance, let's go back to our lumbar support, right? So what do they have? They have back pain. How does that make them feel? Maybe sad, maybe upset, maybe not capable, right? How is their everyday life affected? Well, there's a bunch of ways that your life could be affected when you have back pain. You can't play ball with your kids or go grocery shopping or participate in life the way you want to, right? So what is their status among their friends, family, and coworkers? They are somebody who requires babying maybe or somebody who's delicate. And then what do they believe about the world? Maybe that back pain is genetic or there's no way I'm ever going to be able to change it or I've tried everything, right? So now they have your new product. and we go through the same process. What do they have now? They have no back pain, right? We could just flip that one on its head. How does that make them feel? Empowered, excited, enthusiastic, strong. How is their everyday life affected? They can participate. How do they believe, or what is their status among their friends, family, and coworkers? The fun person, somebody who can play, someone who can hang out, somebody who's not holding anybody back. And then what do they believe about the world? That I can take control of the situation, that I can solve my problem, that, back pain is not genetic. So this transformation analysis is super powerful, and it really helps you get inside the mind of your prospect. So we use the transformation analysis plus the deep understanding and the market research to start really developing the copy and how we're going to position the product and what the messaging is going to look like. So this is our first process. In our system, the whole process starts with the copywriter. The copywriter determines what the messages need to be, and then the designer figures out how to support the messages with good design. The next thing we take a look at is product research. So in this case, we're pulling in things like the features and benefits, the specifications of the product, things like battery life and, how big it is, the size of it, durability, materials, so on and so forth, right? And then we want to know, like, how is it used? How are people actually using this product? And sometimes that's easy to understand. Sometimes it's surprising, right? When we start doing our product research, we actually take a look at competitors a lot of times, and we see unique use cases that we weren't expecting. All right, so the unique selling proposition is an incredibly important part of this process. Now, ideally, you have your unique selling proposition figured out before you ever come to Graphic Rhythm, right? So especially if you're a private label seller, ideally you have figured out a unique selling proposition. And that is what is going to make your product stand out in a very crowded marketplace and be different. Okay, that is your unique selling proposition. The unique selling proposition is so important that we almost always put it as image number 2 in our image sequence for the gallery images, and we put it high up in the A+ content as well. Now, the reason we do that is because people are shopping quickly, right? And you want to make your product stand out in the marketplace and stand out among your competitors. And so people look at the main image, they click on it, right? The next thing that they're looking at is that second image, right? So that second image has to be able to capture their attention and demonstrate why your product is different. Now, what if you don't have a unique selling proposition? Well, make it up. Now, you're going to probably chastise me, right? Ian, what do you mean make it up? Does that mean I'm supposed to lie? No, never ever lie to your prospect. That's a terrible idea. But you can still make up a unique selling proposition, and I will give you an example. If you are maybe not aware of it, the garlic press is the, king of all private label products, right? Everybody in the world was selling a garlic press at one time. Not me. I didn't do it, right? So there's not much to say about a garlic press. But if you were going to make up a unique selling proposition about a garlic press, what you would do is you would take a relatively benign feature of the product and then make it your unique selling proposition, as long as your competitors aren't using it as their unique selling proposition. So with our garlic press, let's say none of our competitors happen to talk about the size of the hole, that the garlic gets squeezed through. Nobody mentions it, right? Because who cares? It's just a benign feature of the product, right? Well, if you want to stand out in a crowded marketplace, you could say that the size of the holes of your garlic press make you special because it is the perfect size for mincing garlic without burning it, right? Mincing it to the size that it pleasantly, evaporates into your dish without burning it, right? So that's making it up. It's entirely truthful, but what you're doing is you're making something special about your product that is different from your competitors, and that is all a unique selling proposition is. Now, if you have a unique selling proposition baked into your product already, please use that. Think about that ahead of time, bake that in ahead of time. But if you don't, that's how you make it up. All right. So the next phase of our process here is to figure out what goes where. All right, what message do we need for which graphic? Now, typically when you work with Graphic Rhythm, we're going to be doing working on a project like we're just doing your gallery images or your A+ content. But for you, you can really start to look at the different places that you can use Amazon graphics. So gallery images are probably the number one thing, right? Everybody knows about them. You click on the listing. It's the 7 to 9 images that are available right above the fold, right when you click in, right? So the USP is always going to be the most important, and your most urgent messages follow it. So images 2, 3, and 4 we focus on first, your unique selling proposition. Then we want to make sure we communicate all the really important features and benefits, okay? And then we want to look at, kind of like bottom of the funnel things. So the bottom of the funnel things would be, tell us about your brand and other products in your line, or required information from Amazon, like nutrition labels. We put that at the bottom because in a lot of cases, actually, image number 8 and if an image number 9 is available, those two images actually don't appear on the listing. You have to click the images to see them. So, and then mixed up in those images like 2, 3, 4 are also transformation images. So that's where we communicate that transformation to the prospect, like, hey, here's how this product is going to make you a new person, or hey, this is how this product is going to help you not be this person anymore, right? So that's that carrot and the stick. So we're going to use a combination of those image types, which we call image formulas, by the way. We'll use a combination of those formulas to take them through that funnel. So Amazon Post is a cool thing. Amazon rolled that out recently. It's only for brand registered brands, but the Amazon posts are a lot like social media. They're very high up in the funnel. People who are, kind of shopping around, they're still in the comparison phase. They could see your post, click on it, and then go over to your storefront right away. So this is, you really want to focus on getting clicks, picking interest, a little bit of mystery maybe in those posts. And, that's what we recommend for that. And then A+ content, including storefronts, are an opportunity for you to sell bottom of the funnel customers, right? So your customer is going to maybe, let's start with a post. They'll click on the post and they'll say, oh, what's this other thing, right? So they click on that and they land on your page, and immediately they're confronted with the unique selling proposition. What makes your product different, right? So let's say they start going through some of the images and they go through image 2, 3, 4, maybe they get to 5, right? So they start to get an idea of your brand, all the features and benefits. Hopefully you're overcoming objections, answering the questions, helping them not be confused. Then they scroll down your page, right? And they see your A+ content, which says, hey, this is why our brand is awesome. This is our mission. This is how we, donate to charities or whatever it might be, right? Or we could go a little deeper on the product in that place, right? So now they're coming deep into your funnel. They're getting really familiar with you, right? They determine that they like you, and maybe they scroll back up and they click on a storefront or something along those lines, and they're really now starting to really get excited about your brand and become part of your culture, and they're getting exposed to your different products and your mission, right? And now they're relating emotionally to your brand. That's the journey we want to take them on. So now they're ready to buy because they're intimately familiar with not only your products, but your brand. Okay. So that's kind of like our image sequencing and purposing phase, where we figure out, okay, what's the message that they need to hear at this particular moment in their buying journey. All right, so let's talk about the last stage of our process, and that stage is actually graphic design. Now, I know that I'm pretty biased here when I say this because I own a design agency, but you should really avoid doing your own design work unless you're a graphic designer. All right. The reason is because graphic designers are trained professionals. They know what they are doing. They know how to combine graphics and create graphics in a way that makes them more than the sum of their parts. So instead of giving you design tips so that you could do a better job creating your own designs, what I'd like to do now is give you 4 things to look for and evaluate when a designer makes something for you or when you're evaluating a graphic designer or a design company. So the number one thing is to look for a clear visual hierarchy. So a visual hierarchy means that or the designer has intentionally guided your attention inside of that design. You have something to focus on first, second, and third, right? And then and the important thing here is intentional, that there is an intentional approach to how you view and consume that design. The next thing is to look at the brand guidelines and see how well the designer has done incorporating the brand guidelines. Does it look like it's the same brand across all that imagery? Third, and this frustrates my designers when I say it, but copywriting is more important than design. And in fact, I would also say that good design supports copywriting. And so with that being said, we often have to talk to our new designers and train them into this idea that they should make the copy stand out, right? And then support that copy with really good design. Your message, for the most part, is going to come in that copy on the image, right? Your headline, a big, beautiful image. Think of a billboard, right? Or something along those lines, right? That copy is really what's going to grab. Now, that's not saying that that's always true. Sometimes, that image can speak louder than words if it happens to be a really good one. But for the most part, the copy is going to be more important than the design in the image. And then finally, I alluded to this earlier, this idea that you should be designing, right? You should be looking at a design, not something that's decorated. And the way that you can tell the difference is when you're looking at a graphic design, if it looks like more than the sum of its parts, if it's all working together and coordinating and it feels like something more, then that is the definition of design and not decoration. Okay, so I said earlier that we have image formulas that we use at our business to make things smoother. We've identified 20 different image formulas. And so if you purchased an all access pass, you actually have access to all of our 20 image formulas, and we made that available to all access pass members. So you can check that out. And in the meantime, what I wanted to do was give you an idea of what Graphic Rhythm designs and what we do and how we could fit into your business. So Graphic Rhythm, I think of it like a full circle design agency, okay? We really developed our service offerings to be there for your business in whatever stage it might be. So we have a subscription design service. We call it Daily Design. So you can get your social media graphics or presentations or price lists or even your product imagery done through that service. We also offer very, very comprehensive logo, visual identity, web design, even services. And then, of course, we have a whole suite of services just focused on Amazon sellers, where we go through this entire process. We do it per listing if you need to. We do it, A+ content. We could develop your Amazon storefront. We have an Amazon posts service where we create posts and then post them in your Seller Central account for you. And then, of course, there's much more. So our approach really is we want to be your designer, full stop. Whatever that means to you, whatever you need in your business, Graphic Rhythm is poised to be your designer for your business wherever you are. Okay? So I'm going to leave you with a couple of final thoughts here. And it's going to be, I just want to reiterate some of the things that I've said and make sure that they're as important for you as I need them to be so that you could be as successful as you possibly can be. So, final thought number one, e-commerce is a visual business, okay? It is so visual, you need to dial into the visuals and particularly imagery, and remember that every image you create is an opportunity to sell. The next thing, the next final thought is to carefully consider what your viewer needs to know or feel in any particular part of your funnel, okay? Make sure that you're matching the message that they need at that moment to the message that they're seeing, okay? And then the last thing is don't waste opportunities to sell and convert, okay? You don't get into the habit of creating photography and just posting it or even not taking advantage of all of the image slots available to you on your listing, okay? So don't waste those opportunities. Always be selling is what I tell my team. Always be selling, always be selling, always be selling. All right, guys, so I hope you've enjoyed my presentation. I hope that you have some insight now into the actionable things that you could do to create imagery for e-commerce, for Amazon, for whatever it might be, that gets your buyer to make a decision. Okay. Feel free to check out Graphic Rhythm. We're available on the internet all the time. So go ahead and check us out. And thank you very much. See ya.